Всем привет, дорогие друзья, с вами я Перес, и я продолжаю проходить Shelock Holmes Crime and Punishment, часть 5, дело номер 5. Предпоследнее дело, насколько я знаю, насколько я помню. И драма в Kew Gardens. Играем дальше. Так, а потом будет стрим. Следующая запись, возможно, будет в понедельник. Следующая запись будет финал. Финал Shelock Holmes Crime and Punishment будет стрим, возможно, будет в понедельник, завтра, то есть. Да, завтра. Но это возможно, но это не точно. Я обещать не могу.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Shelock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Так, пока не будем, но сейчас...
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany...
Так, Ватсон, вы опять смотрите за ней? Да. Ватсон, вы вроде женатый человек, если не ошибаюсь.
Oh dear, Toby. I wasn't aware that you were Watson's new literary agent.
Так, что в письме?
My archive.
Не, вот так, письмо. Прочитаем его. Дорогой мистер Холмс, я все же набралась смелости написать вам это письмо. Мне сложно подобрать слова, чтобы выразить всю мою признательность за вашу доброту. В тот ужасный день я верил, что моя жизнь разрушена, но также осознавал, что лишь один человек в этом мире искренне любит меня, а я его люблю в ответ. Мы оба знаем его имя, капитан Джек Кроук. Его любовь придала подлинный смысл моей жизни. Даже если мы не сможем быть вместе, ничего из этого не случилось бы без вашего участия, мистер Холмс. Искренне ваша Мэри Брэкенстор. Ну, последствия, то, что происходит. Так, а что у нас за трофей? Трофей вилка, да? Серебряная вилка с гербом Эбби Грей. Поискали в Kew Gardens. Приехали.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Shelock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house?
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
Do not touch.
The plants were hid. Here is a list of the
Хорошо. Так, что еще у нас?
What should we do next, Holmes?
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. Fragments of a flower. Soil. Soil. The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here. This sign is broken. Blood. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash. Most likely a head wound. The door was... This door handle is new. It was recent. The ensconce. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection Room.
I think we need to inspect the colonial collection.
These plants come from... The smell is strong. These windows... This broken a fragment of marble. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned. This is one of the outlets. According to this, this pot was a flower pot recently fell down from these shelves. All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need...
Вламывает дверь. Дальше разбивает горшок. И падает. Смотри серию.
This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder?
Надо тут ловушка. Нет, это связано? Разве? Наверное, посмотреть. Ну, надо пойти в этот... Что-то яркое, я так и понял. Нужно смотреть.
According to this,
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Красные глаза, я сразу понял, что он меланхолик. Почему-то это... Поглощен скорбью. Мне почему-то казалось. Порезался при бритье. Чистые руки, да.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only. For I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Поболтаем с ним. Грязный воротник. Грязная одежда. Не женат. Шо? Грубый руки садовника. Понятно. Не старчит. Думаю.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Director's Office. Farmhouse. Water lily. Colonial. Dry trop. Ventilation. Seed house. Nursery. A map of...
Так, это было.
Reserve.
Объект интереса. А, потому же это событие. Так, я сейчас подойду, пока загрузится.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy then. It's ready.
Mr. Holmes?
A very good day to you, my friend. Is Inspector Lestrade in?
I'm sorry, sir, but the inspector's absent at the moment. Mr. Holmes?
Личные вещи Дана. Посмотри. Письмо. Итак. Дорогому мистеру Уэйну, директору печатающей компании Уэйн и сыновья. Дорогой друг, ваши плакаты для большой выставки Kew Gardens прекрасны, однако не стоило указывать весь персонал. Достаточно моего имени Монтегю Данн. Клубная карта. Разворачиваем.
A membership card for the London Crest.
Насколько хорошо это.
This watch is
Часы.
a beautiful...
Хорошо. Так, дальше.
First of all, let us carry...
Шрам.
There is an injury to the skull, most probably. The vessels and the pupil of the eye. The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma. No redness, nothing There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish. Now, let us examine. The stomach tissue. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death.
Это понятно. Так, печень.
The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction. The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs. The heart's blood vessels show no pathology. The heart tissue shows no...
Патологии.
The lungs are congested. The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant.
Вот так вот.
My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning. Plant poisoning, to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No. We also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson. It is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim
ты забыл
himself.
посмотреть.
After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
Понятно, что дорогие.
Locked. Locked. Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, oh, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That and...
And...
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he's trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here. and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the Deputy Director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone, dismissively, with indifference.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Позвольте, мой дорогой друг, позвольте мне выразить разочарование по поводу вашего последнего письма. Я плачу, чтобы вы защищали меня, а не обвиняли. Кью Гарденс это королевское учреждение. Нам представлена великолепная возможность путешествовать по миру, сохранять наиболее удивительные редкие виды растений. Наш долг защищать эти виды от тех, кто может пожелать их и для сомнительных целей. Этот божественный синдикат, о котором вы говорили, имеет никаких прав на такие ценные растения. Вспомните случай 14 июня 1889 года. В связи с этим я вынужден повторить эту свою просьбу потенциально закрепить разрешение на эти растения за Кью Гарденс. Документы были вам отправлены в понедельник. П.С. Увидимся во вторник в полдень, как всегда. Монтигю Дан. Жалоба. Мистер Дан, мы настоятельно просим вас последний раз вернуть наших сестер. Вы не имеете права сдержать их у себя. Они не ваша собственность. Ваше так называемое разрешение фальшивка. Вы прячете за ложь, которая была сообщена в прессе по поводу инцидента 14 июня 1889 года. То, что вы сделали, отвратительно. Будьте уверены, мы никогда не откажемся от членов своей семьи. Мы доверились вам и жалеем об этом. Божественный синдикат. Еще одно письмо.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White.
Да, долг мисс Уайт, мистер Монтегю, рента за съем квартир на Олдскорт-стрит, стипендия на учебу в Лондонском университете, кредит взяты в Камильтоне, услуги по дома Ренге и регулиров из Пэрилс и сыновья. Все? Там еще должно быть какое-то письмо.
What should we...
Хорошо. Фотография.
A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish.
Вот так вот. С отцом, наверное. Шампанское.
Champagne. Montague. French wine.
Еще одно письмо. Дорогая Маргарет, с учетом нашего последнего разговора, полагаю, для вас будет лучше оставить свою должность в Кью Гарденс. Как вы точно указали, вы более не нуждаетесь в моей поддержке, вы вполне способны самостоятельно добиться успеха в этом мире, по вашим словам. Что ж, я возражаю вам свободу, искренне желаю удачи. Монтегю Дан.
Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
Так, новые виды растений. Коллектив Кью рад объявить о успешном выведении нового сорта ячменя. Полностью российскому получил название сибирский ячмень. Мистер Мартин Хэммиш, умевший культивировать этот сорт, расскажет о нем на своей пресс-конференции, которая состоится утром в следующий понедельник. Так. Увольнение и дан. Вот так вот. Размовка. Нет.
Locked.
Костюма нет.
It appears as though such masks are generally gloves. What?
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
Да, не выращивают, господи. Что-то тут есть. Лаборатория. О, что-то есть. Где-то мокрые бутылки.
Gold dust. Good heavens.
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks.
But why would anyone perform such...
There was a bottle here. Several drops of the The bottle is no longer here, but
Хороший нос. А Тоби, принести Тоби. Но это не сейчас. Мы сейчас все осмотрим, потом пойдем. Так. Вот, университетский учебник. Чё?
a botany book.
Книга сюда по ботанике. Альберт Ван.
This student's book belongs to Albert.
Стал, решил, похож быть на отца.
Chemicals. A sufficient.
A phonograph used for voice.
Yes, this is.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants to respond to their environments and have
Прочитайте.
Study report.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
Тоже требуется улик, хорошо. Наверное, где-то здесь еще там есть.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Ватсон.
What should...
А что мы идем дальше?
Locked.
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not.
Мы его откроем. Конечно, Ватсон, мы его откроем. Так, смотрим. Сначала мы начнем вот так, отсюда. Так. Да, вот так. Следующий. Вот так. Вот. Так, давай вот. Сейчас что здесь было. Вот. Угу, вижу. Ага, вижу вот так. Покрутим, 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 покрутим. Следим, хорош. Здесь тихо. Так вот. Вот так, наверное, да? Так, значит, не так, хорошо. Крутим, крутим. Нет. Крутим, крутим, крутим. Вот так вот здесь вставить. Вставляем, хорош. Тут есть еще. Тут надо настроить, да. Ну, видите, там еще что-то есть. Вот так. Куда? Нет. Так, давай-ка так. Нет, дальше. Я смотрю, еще там сверху есть еще какая-то штука. Вот так. Опять. Угу. Что-то тут не хватает. Так, вот так, наверное. Вот так. Стоять. Вот. Стой. Все. Ну где я упустил? Ну нет, надо еще брать просто. Да все на месте. Что ты мелешь-то? Все правильно. А, вот здесь неправильно. Вижу. Здесь самая такая мелочевка. Все, ура! Открыл.
Open. The employee. Miss White. Apparently, Miss White.
Так,
These jewels must.
драгоценности. Так, сумочка.
A vanity purse.
Письмо от родителей. Марго, с удивлением получили от тебя письмо, как тебе пришло в голову просить деньги после стольких лет с момента твоего ухода. Ты даже не думал о нас. Ты никогда не рассказывал нам о своих успехах в университете, но решила это сделать сейчас. Мы считали, что ты сидишься наш, поскольку мы не подлежим тому высокому классу, что ты твои новые друзья. Да, мы скромно живем, но тебе следует научиться ставить семью на первое место, как мы это делаем дома. Но и никто из нас не запятил на свою репутацию так, как ты сделала ты, своим нанимателем мистером Даном. Нет, Марго, ты заставляешь нас стыдиться тебя, твои родители. Хорошо, дальше еще одно письмо. Читаем дальше. Дорогая Марго, я знаю, насколько ваше нынешнее состояние, ваше нынешнее финансовое положение. Пожалуйста, позвольте мне заверить вас, что я не оставлю один на один с этой проблемой. Родиться в состоятельной семье, сочту за честь, если вы примете мою помощь, вас преданную слуга Альберт.
A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
Дорогие мама и папа, мне сложно просить вас о помощи в этом письме. Мои расходы на обучение и жилье оказались больше, чем я ожидал. Боюсь, в скором времени я уже не смогу оплачивать. Я знаю, что у нас в прошлом были разногласия. Неужели вы будете столь бессердечны, но что позволите дочери не закончить учебу из-за недостатка денег? Маргарет.
Martin Hamish.
Фотография.
Father and I.
Ну да, правильно же.
Martin Hamish. A review on rare and exotic plants.
Мистер генеральный секретарь, последние события в Кью Гарден заставили меня вновь подать заявление на должность управляющего, как я указал на предыдущей письме. Считаю, что лучше, когда это вы найдете, поскольку Дан был жив. Пока мистер Дан жив, я понимаю ваши отказы, но они были вызваны политическими соображениями. Но теперь Кью Гарденс погружается в хаос. Как я могу состоять и позволить это? Как я могу доверять все неопытным людям с отсутствующей мотивацией? Я должен просить вас ускорить принятое решение, чтобы я мог полностью заняться делом, избавиться от мысли об этой неопределенности.
Albert's lock. Young Albert, standing with a woman. Young Albert. Specialist artist Albert Dunn has
Письмо с отказом.
a rejection letter from the British Royal.
Шкала Королевского военно-морского флота подготовки Логан, сэр, с сожалением сообщаем, что несмотря на ваши превосходные результаты на внутренних экзаменах, мы не можем принять вашу школу Королевского морского флота. Ваш отец, мистер Мэттер, выразил намерение рекомендовать вас на должность директора ботанического сада в Кью, из чего следует, что он не позволит вам пройти годовое обучение в нашей школе. Примите наши наилучшие пожелания по поводу вашего будущего. Кью Гарденс, искренне ваш Леман Чан, директор Центра подготовки военных моряков. Вот так вот. Мотив. Отец. Надо спросить про отца.
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
Отец, фотография с отцом.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work, for Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh, yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father. so it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Мотив, еще один мотив. Мотив у...
I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
Письмо с отказом, да? Надежда, да.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Тоже мотив, но он правду сказал, что...
Nursery. Locked.
Тут еще письмо, да?
A thesis.
Декларация.
A glasses case. This area, sir.
Здесь кабинет Мартина Хемиша.
We can see the interior of the... This poster is for an exhibition that Martin... This certificate belongs to...
Вот так вот. Бюст.
It is a... I am curious if the marble... Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the...
Можно спросить, да?
The seed... Locked. Seed. Open. From here, we are unable... Materials for... A book about ships. These leather... This place...
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Shelock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Так, я вижу амулет. Это раз. А, дорогие духи, нет, я ошибся. Так. Пуговица, так. Красные руки. Из бедности. Не замужем.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic, and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious. There is a smell of burning. A ventilation system. A water...
Горшки. Нет? А, горшки там.
A protective... Someone set it... The plants were set alight fairly... The remains of a broom handle, a door handle, the door handle to the colonial collection. This symbol is from the divine...
Теперь все. Ну, не все. Не все смотрели. Так, да. Надо спросить про бюст, и можно идти забрать Тоби и смотреть, что... Ай, обходить надо.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Holmes. Что мы будем делать дальше? Бежать от первого лица. Мне почему-то привычно от третьего лица. Мартин Хеймиш, давай, побазарим.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
Осколок.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the colonial collection room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
По-моему, там да, без прошел. Так, поскакали на Бейкер-стрит и сразу собираем все улики. Спокойно, не лагай, молодец. Убийца Альберта. Мотив. Гнев Хеймиша, новый директор. Мотив Хеймиша. Отдель Уайтвуч. Нет. Уайт и Дан. Положение Уайт. Чё бы Уайт, это амбиции нет, амбиции ничем связано. Все. По-моему, все. Да. Так, ищем. Найти растение ботаника. Так, еще. Так, не то, ботаника. Табачный никотин. Вот. Следующий вид растений по своей способности выделяет токсины. Венера продоятная, которые бла-бла-бла-бла-бла-бла-бла. Черемуха поздняя, да ладно, я не верю. Только первые 3 из них опасны для человека, в особенности дьявольский цветок, но при специфических условиях данное растение отреагирует на агрессию, при которой оно выпускает ядовитые споры. Только при агрессии. Химия, где-то токсины, не то, божественный синдикат, где же? Вот, божественный синдикат есть. Члены этого синдиката поклоняются Тревану, верховному божеству, они стремятся достигнуть духовного мира, освободиться от материального, поэтому щедрые пожертвования приветствуются.
The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens.
Так, 89 год. Скандал. Божественный синдикат, последовательные Верховного Божества Триана, собирающие на 48 Кронсер Стрит, Калтон-Рад, защитники растений и деревьев, стали объектом административного разбирательства. Руководители этой организации подозреваются в финансовых махинациях. Дело может дойти до суда. Между тем, против данного расследования вступили многие высокопоставленные лица. На самом деле, это частная организация, составляющая целью защиту природы, объединяющая многих влиятельных людей, включая себя и представителей оппозиционной партии.
Here it is. And here is the Divine Syndicate's address.
Хорошо. Так, но сначала мы возьмем Тоби.
Come on, Toby. We have some... Let us go to Kew.
В Кью прошли. Кью. Так, снова проанализируем улики. Украдены отравления. Половина игры, полчаса осталось. Я...
Let us take Toby to the laboratory.
Так, лабораторию, так. А, все.
Search, Toby. Search.
Хорошо. Странная зеленая хрень. Ты наркоман? М? Молодец, Тоби.
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found.
Поздравляю. Спрятанная бутылка.
This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried. There is still some liquid remaining in a tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden.
В лаборатории, да. В лаборатории. Но при... О, стоп!
Braved.
А, Тоби, господи.
What should we...
Что мы делаем? Делать дальше. Хорошо. Спроси про божественный синдикат. У всех.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish.
Может
We
быть,
shall
только
continue
мистер
our
Дан
investigation.
Мистер Дан слышал только в этом божественном синдикате или нет?
Nursery.
Да побежал ты, Хом, побежали. Конечно, так не проще открывать.
Seed.
Открывай ты дверь. Божественный синдикат, слышали?
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Thank you, miss.
Ой, ой. Спасибо. Кто сказал, будь здоров? Ну, спасибо. Так, надо посмотреть, что там с записью, может быть. Нам были... Давай ты. Так, чё? Запись идет? Мне интересно, идет или не идет. Да. Окей, пускай, если не хочешь сноситься, значит она идет. Так, надо спросить у Альберта, знает ли он божественный синдикат. И уже пойти в сам синдикат. Ай, лагай. Молодец. Syndicate.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Никто не помнит.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Так, поскакали, наверное, в божественный синдикат. Что он сказал? Надо бы посмотреть потом, что он сказал.
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone. Lock.
Раунд. Внимание. Вопрос.
A fragment of a... Fragments. The Kew Garden. Good day to you, sir. My name is
I am exalting the sun. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance. Do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcome you are. To introduce myself I shall. I am the Green Grand Mystic.
The Green Grand Mystic himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
Это уровка первая. Дальше. Мозоли на кончиках пальцах. Лаборатория подсобничек. Занимается химией.
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis. The divines, you may say, the divine syndicate. Glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees. Those whose hearts are ready to spermatify and to be permitted.
Do you have friends?
None. Not worthy there.
Эмблема.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Garden's flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Our God King's name is Treewan, green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation can you make whenever you so wish.
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
Raw sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Так, я могу обвинить кого-то, да? Да, но еще это рано делать.
You came to make a donation? Glory!
This must be... This door is...
Опять открывашку, давай, открывашку. Так, раз. Нет, стоять. Спокойно. Начнем с этого. Вот так. Хорош. Вот. Так, хорош. Так, немножко отмотаю. Покручу. Нет. Так. Вот так, хорош. Просто вернуть нужно. Вот. Не, стоять. Верни. Тя. Вот так. Смотрим, где я ошибся. Ага, вижу. Так, значит, надо повернуть левый. Так. Вот, нет. Вращаем. Вот так. Вставляем, крутим. Стоп. Все. Да. Отлично.
This cabinet...
Чего ты написал?
This cabinet is full...
Так, объект интереса, хорошо.
That would be... A vast...
Собаки.
These in... Caterpillars. They are... A tropical plant. A tropical plant. A tropical. A tropical. These three plants are identical to the ones... A tropical. A tropical.
Ты, по-моему, тут нет, да? Ой, вот тут. Бейки-стрит. Там нужно лабораторию. Так, вот еще. Так, подскакали. Так, слик. Исчезновение Дейты Хаш. Так, украдены опасные растения. Нет. Горы, хорошо. Украдены горы. Секта украла все. Да ну, кражу, убийство. Избирательная кража, конечно, избирательная кража. Так, амбиция, выигрыш. Так, ничего не связано, хорошо. Синдикат избирал. Так, исследуем жидкость-то.
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to... This is the bottle that we found hidden.
Шпуньк.
A colorless, water-based liquid. Quite a strong floral aroma.
Holmes? What are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
So what do you think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vape.
Осада.
Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and I need to take
Красный свет.
red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
Так, пошли в этот... Там этот взять... Как его? Ну вы поняли, алкалоид. Алкалоид. Я возьму... Я буду говорить его алкалоид. Так, подозрительное горение и исчезновение отравления. Так, провести эксперимент. Алкалоид. Так, поскакали, взяли алкалоид и поскакали на Бекки-стрит.
This substance is an alkaloid. Perfect, Watson.
Так, не знаю, сколько запись уже длится. Много, наверное. Ладно, все равно сейчас мы закончим. Все равно мы дело закончим. Должны закончить. Рано или поздно.
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask.
Так, это укольчик.
It appears to open after being... It closed again. I believe I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we... It appeared...
My word. It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be for... I find the behavior of predators utterly
A carnivorous... A prickly... This is a strain... It appears to... Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
Пец. Вот это жесть. Настоящая жесть. Как так... Какой там может это пройти?
The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Так. Эти 300. Вики, смятение расчета специалиста. Так, есть знание Альберта. Это получается, что Альберт... Да, ну, убил Альберт. Поскакали дальше. Так. Начнем с Мартина.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Just be careful with the plants during your inspection.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious. Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysip something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Некоторое время.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
The power. The engine cannot be started. The engine cannot be started. The engine. The ventilation system is working. Excellent. This ventilation from here. Perfect. Now,
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
Да. Сразу пойдем к Лекстрейту, потому что мы должны арестовать его. Этот не мог. Да, студенты не могли, значит, остается что-нибудь. Мог быть.
Let's go to Scotland.
A very good day. The inspectors... Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
Kew Gardens, да. Сразу. Делаем Хеймиша, то все. Назад пути нет. Забавно. Забавно, девки пляшут.
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry. Martin Hamish...
Mr. Holmes?
Harm House.
Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please?
Стоп. Таймс. Я не заметил. Подожди, дай таймс. Ты смеешься, что таймс не делаешь? Жизнь превратилась в сущий ад, но я нахожу невыносим. Дан заслужил смерти, но я не могу простить себя за его кровь на мешках. Мы, Хэмиши, практически всегда были жертвами обстоятельств, и я не сделал исключения. Я должен уйти, я сделаю это здесь и сейчас. Прощайте.
The mark around the neck. The mark.
Грязный ботинок.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case.
Слабость. Я не знаю, что такое слабость. Наверное, хромой, что ли? Ну хромает. Понятно. Инспектор, давай, скажи что-нибудь. Let's straight, party, let's straight,
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should...
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
Так, смотри-ка. Умирает. Альберт провел все утро.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now.
Так. Далее. Действие Альберта, действие Хэмиша. Действие Альберта, действие Хэмиша и... Так. Уайт не причастна. Альберт не причастен. Но Хэмиш действовал один. Было время. Мартин помогла Уайт и было время. И есть еще что. Так. Так, сейчас закончим и будем прощаться. Дело закрыто. Конечно, я с самого начала почему-то не верю.
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining. The deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her. Quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
I am not blaming you, Miss White. You are a young and brilliant woman, trapped in a dull and hostile world. Life has never been easy, men in particular.
You... It is hopeless.
Indeed. Well, it may be true that I cannot yet change the world, but I can spare your life.
My life? There is nothing left to save. I have lost everything. Do you hear me? Everything! And you were just like all the others. You would abuse and take advantage of a vulnerable woman.
I hardly think so. Now just listen to me.
I've tried so hard, but I have had enough.
Miss White, no! I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Хорош, Ватсон, молодец.
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
Нет, не хуже. Ничего подобного. Ну, Бартин помогла Уайт, поэтому... Ой. Нет, принять версию, хорошо. Принимаем версию, и давайте на этом закончим. Сейчас посмотрю, сколько статистика дела. 91%, и сделали такой же моральный выбор 24%. Нифига себе, как мало. Я принадлежу меньшинству. Прогулка в лунном свете будет на стриме, наверное, в понедельник. Возможно, но это не точно. Я не обещаю. Но первое, как только появится возможность, запущу стрим. И поэтому я буду сейчас заканчивать серию. Подписывайтесь, оцените, комментируйте, вступайте в группу ВКонтакте. И до встречи в следующей серии прохождений. С вами был Перец. Надеюсь, вам понравилось. И давайте сейчас я выйду из игры и еще раз скажу до скорого. Так, с вами был Перец, надеюсь, вам понравилось. Еще раз всем пока. Сейчас. Давай, выходи. Еще раз подписывайтесь, оцените, комментируйте, вступайте в группу ВКонтакте. И до встречи в следующей серии прохождения и обзоров игр. С вами был Перец, надеюсь, вам понравилось. До скорого, ребят. Да что ж такое-то? Запись сейчас не может... Я не могу с вами попрощаться, ребят, потому что запись не заканчивается. Ладно, сейчас закончится. Так. Давай ты. Сейчас, ребят, сейчас. Все, можете выключать видео, потому что пока закончится сейчас. Давай. Игра заглючила. Вот в чем проблема. Да я знаю, что время кончилось уже давным-давно. Капец. Это забавная история, да, ребят? Как вам такое? Ладно, всем пока еще раз.